Hey everyone, I just wanted to share the 3D printer that I just assembled. It's the Anycubic Kossel 3D printer. It arrives as a kit, and you basically put all the pieces together, and it turns into a functioning 3D printer. So it's pretty awesome. Turn it on real quick. So under this, we actually have the board that you plug everything into. Could see we got these are from the hot end, so these connect through this wiring all the way into here, and these basically control the temperature. Um, read out temperature over here. Tell when you set the temperature. That is very important. That controls how hot the plastic gets. This is the hot end unit. Plastic comes from that roller right there through this extrusion motor, and then it follows through this tubing, goes through here. This thing heats up, and then plastic extrudes through the nozzle right there. And so it's on these pulleys. Again, you assemble all this, everything from the little wheels here to this dongle to these carbon fiber rods. Everything comes as a kit. You have to assemble literally every piece. I could put a link in the description for the actual kit. It costs about $180. It's the cheapest 3D printer you're ever going to find. It does do a pretty good job, but there's some room for improvement. As far as how long it takes to build this thing, I would say it took me about 6-7 hours over the course of like 2-3 days. I would say you need some experience with this, and you're probably going to mess up one or two things, and you're going to have to go back and fix everything. I did that with these motors here. I mixed up the extrusion motor with one of these pulley motors, and I had to take everything apart and rebuild the whole thing, unfortunately, because these pulleys are extremely hard to get to. So if you mess that up, you're going to have to unscrew these, disconnect this pulley, take the wires out of the circuit board and all that, unhook that motor. So it's going to be a process. So you just want to make sure you do everything right the first time around to avoid anything like that. So the pulleys are controlled. Basically, it's leveled here with these stop ends that you have the wires hooked up right here. And then they run through this basically all the way down, and they connect right here. They come out, and then you have the end stops right there. So you got to hook up these motors correctly. You got to hook up the end stops correctly. It's quite technical. You put these little fins on too. You got to make sure the metal of the fins don't touch the pins there, otherwise it'll short the whole thing out. But so it's pretty technical. And then this plate goes on there, and this is your print bed right here. It's not heated or anything. I don't have it connected to the computer right now, but I'll show you a quick configuration. So here's the menu. You could put an SD card in and print off that, or you could plug it in via USB to your computer and print like that. I'm just going to do a quick configuration just to show you how this thing works. So you go to control, we'll do motion. This controls all the how fast it moves, the jerk, basically when if it's moving one direction, it'll switch over to another direction. So if you want to make sure the print comes out smooth, you might want to lower those settings a little bit. It might slow the sprint speed, but it'll make for a cleaner print. So here we have the controls. So we'll do an auto home just to show you how the pulleys work and everything. see how those end stops work, and they basically center the hot end there. So it's super important that you have these screws at the exact distance. If you don't, see those screws that come out, you got to make sure those are all screwed to the exact same point. Otherwise, your hot end is not going to be level, and the print's going to come out diagonal. So just everything it has to be perfect, basically. So now it's all centered, and we will then see if we can do something. I'm not going to print something right now. I just kind of want to show you guys. There's a wrong menu. Let's see, prepare. We could do move axis. So it's moving 10 millimeters, so that's why it's kind of, so even, actually it's moving 40 millimeters. You gotta make sure you move this knob very slightly, because see how slightly I'm moving it? So watch this. It's pretty cool how these pulleys work in unison to move the print head. Pretty neat. So we're back at 0. Pretty cool. And then here's some stuff that I made so far. So this was a print that I made. This was one of the first ones. It failed about half or 3/4 of the way through. Basically what happened is it was printing, and then it got dislodged. The whole thing fell over. So it basically stopped right there. But it serves as a pretty cool example because you could see the cross section there. It's pretty neat. So this was one of my first ones here. But yeah, the inside is basically like a lattice structure, I guess you could say, and it just supports everything and makes this thing super strong. You could pretty much push as hard as you can on this thing, it's not going to break. It's pretty strong. And then I made 2 smaller ones. You could basically control the scale on your printing software. So these are small figurines, basically the same one that I just showed you, except maybe 1/4 of the scale of it. These printed in about 25 minutes. This is a snake. This printed in about 20 minutes as well. It's kind of flexible. It's pretty neat. Shows the capabilities of the material. And this material came with the actual printer. You just got to make sure it doesn't tangle up. And here we got a whistle. This actually does function. It's pretty sloppy, but again, this was one of my first prints. This is the first layer here. See how sloppy that looks. I got it all tuned up now, so if I was to print this now, I'm sure it'll look much better. But this again was one of the very first ones. And here we got a Star Wars cruiser. This one didn't come out so good. You see the bottom there is all messed up. But the top end doesn't look too bad. Well, that's it. I'm going to make some other videos showing how this thing works. Until then, see you guys later. Bye.